This is Guru Focus Market Today, your afternoon market brief for Wednesday, July 8th. Here's where things stand. SpaceX shares slid below their initial public offering price, closing at $148 after intensified selling pressure following the company's recent inclusion in the NASDAQ 100. The drop comes despite major index fund buying and broad optimism from analysts as investors reassess the stock's valuation and future growth prospects. The decline marks a notable reversal for the high-profile space company, which debuted at $150 per share.
Turning now to monetary policy, minutes from the Federal Reserve's June meeting reveal a split among officials regarding the direction of interest rates. Some policymakers advocated for further hikes to address persistent inflation, while others noted increasing risks that could warrant rate cuts. Ultimately, the central bank held its benchmark rate steady at 3.5% to 3.75%.
Another story we're watching is Blue Origin's latest funding round, which has secured $10 billion and values the company at $130 billion. The raise includes $2 billion from Jeff Bezos and $4 billion from Coatue, marking Blue Origin's first external funding round. The capital infusion intensifies competition in the private space sector as Blue Origin ramps up its ambitions against SpaceX. Staying with the markets, U.S. stocks retreated as renewed hostilities between the United States and Iran drove Brent crude oil prices above $78 per barrel. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell by 576 points, while the Nasdaq edged up 0.2%. Airline and consumer shares declined on concerns over higher fuel costs.
Meanwhile, U.S. gasoline prices have risen to an average of $3.79 per gallon, with analysts warning that ongoing Middle East tensions could push prices even higher. The volatility is impacting consumer budgets and driving increased demand for personal finance tools and strategies. Turning to real estate, San Francisco's median one-bedroom rent reached a record $4,060, up 22% year-over-year. The surge is attributed to robust growth in the artificial intelligence sector and a tight housing supply, making San Francisco the second most expensive rental market in the nation.
This next story is about used electric vehicles, where prices in the United States spiked 12% year-over-year in June. The increase is linked to surging gasoline costs and the conflict in the Middle East, which have boosted consumer demand for electric vehicles, outpacing gains in traditional used vehicles. On the corporate front, Microsoft announced approximately 4,800 job cuts, including hundreds at its Xbox, ZeniMax, and Obsidian studios, as part of a broader restructuring. The company detailed severance packages for U.S. employees, offering up to 39 weeks of base pay, continued stock vesting, and 6 months of health insurance, with additional benefits based on tenure and seniority. Also making news today, Levi Strauss reported second-quarter earnings and revenue ahead of forecasts, raised its full-year outlook, and announced a higher dividend. Despite the positive results, shares declined more than 5% after hours. Elsewhere, Walmart has rolled back prices on over 250 grocery items as part of summer promotions, with competitors Kroger and Amazon adjusting their deals to match. However, overall grocery basket prices remain elevated. In the pharmaceutical sector, Vertex Pharmaceuticals agreed to acquire Crinetics Pharmaceuticals for $10 billion. The deal brings Vertex the acromegaly therapy Palsonify and a portfolio of late-stage endocrine assets, marking its largest acquisition to date.
And finally, the U.S. Postal Service will increase the price of a first-class Forever stamp from 78 to 82 cents on July 12th, as part of ongoing efforts to offset rising costs and address long-term financial pressures. That wraps up today's market update. We'll be back soon with the latest market news. Thanks for listening to the Guru Focus Brief.